My name is Bobby K. Olivaria, and I was 29 years old when my boyfriend told me his friends thought I was a joke. The strangest part is that he did not say it during a breakup. He did not say it after weeks of honest conversation or one final fight where people throw old wounds like knives. He said it while his suitcase sat open on the bed I paid for, packed for a boys' trip to Vegas I had helped him afford, as if insulting me was just one more thing to check off before leaving. For 2 years, I had been investing in us. That was the word I used, because it sounded smarter than admitting I was carrying him. I was a senior data analyst making good money at a logistics software firm, the kind of job people call boring until the rent is due. I spent my days cleaning data, building forecasting models, and explaining to executives why their gut feeling was not a strategy. It was not glamorous, but it paid $110,000 a year, covered 80% of our downtown apartment, and kept Cole floating while he searched for his passion. Cole Varden was 27, handsome in a soft, careless way, and convinced he was meant for something bigger than regular work. Over the years, his passion changed shape more times than I could count. First, it was a streetwear brand, then a podcast, then a boutique fitness app, then creative consulting, which mostly meant taking long lunches with people who had better shoes than business plans. I paid off $8,000 in credit card debt he called a rough patch. I funded the failed streetwear samples stacked in our closet. I came home at 6, cooked dinner, and listened while he complained that nobody understood his potential. For a while, I thought being called safe was a compliment. Cole would press a kiss to my forehead and say, "You're my safe place, Bobby." I loved that. I wanted to be the steady woman beside the man who was still becoming himself. But slowly, safe stopped sounding like home. It started sounding like an insult he had learned from someone else. That someone else was Jason Marr. Jason led Cole's new friend group, a rotating pack of grindset podcast addicts who spoke in slogans about winners, losers, status, and leverage. Jason was the loudest, the kind of man who leased expensive things and talked about ownership. He posted shirtless gym videos with captions about discipline, then Venmo requested people for appetizers. He had turned Cole's insecurity into a religion, and somehow my stable career, the exact thing keeping Cole comfortable, became proof that I was small. The first real warning came a week before the trip. We were at a pre-Vegas dinner with Cole's friends, and of course, I was paying because Cole had promised he would get the next one since last winter. Jason was bragging about a crypto deal and some woman he met who actually understood ambition. "You should get into higher-risk plays, Bobby," Jason said, barely looking at me. "Data girls always think too small." "I prefer investments I can quantify," I said mildly. He laughed. "That is adorable. You really do live in spreadsheets." Cole smiled into his drink. Jason turned to him. "Bro, you need someone who plays the game with you, not someone who audits the scoreboard." I waited. I waited for Cole to say, "Don't talk about her like that." I waited for anything. Instead, he gave a forced laugh and said, "Bobby just takes things literally. She's practical." Practical. There it was. The new safe. The look they shared told me more than the words did. I was not Cole's partner in that moment. I was the court accountant, the walking rent payment, the reliable woman everyone could mock because I was too composed to cause a scene. That night, driving home, I asked him why he had not defended me. Cole sighed like I was asking for something exhausting. "Jason jokes with everybody." "He was insulting me." "He was teasing you. You always make it heavy." I looked out the passenger window at the city lights smearing across the glass and felt something in me quietly pull back. I did not know yet that 1 week later, Cole would say the quiet part out loud. I only knew that the man I had been building a future with had started laughing with people who saw me as the punchline. And he did not look ashamed. He looked relieved that someone else had finally said it first. The week before Cole left for Vegas, I started noticing the little rehearsals. He would stand in front of the mirror longer than usual, trying on shirts he had not worn since before we moved in together, checking angles, fixing his hair, then glancing at his phone every few seconds when Jason or one of the guys sent another message. The apartment was covered in evidence of a life I funded and a trip I was apparently not cool enough to understand. New sneakers by the door, a black duffel on the bed, cologne I had bought him last Christmas sitting open on the dresser. Everything smelled like anticipation, but none of it was for me. Thursday night, his suitcase was spread across the bed I paid for, half packed with clothes he had bought on a credit card I had helped him clear twice. He was sitting cross-legged beside it, texting fast and smiling at his screen in that private way he had stopped smiling at me. I stood in the doorway for a full minute before he looked up. "Cole, we need to talk." He sighed so hard it almost became a performance. "God, Bobby, can we not do this right now? I'm trying to get into Vegas mode." "Vegas mode can wait 5 minutes." He locked his phone and tossed it onto the bed. "Fine. What?" I hated how small that word made me feel. What? Like my pain was an errand he had to run before the fun started. I folded my arms, not because I wanted to look strong, but because I needed somewhere to put my hands. That dinner last week. Jason mocking my job. The way everyone laughed. The way you let them talk about me, like I was some boring obstacle in your life. Cole rolled his eyes. "Jason talks like that to everyone." "No, he doesn't. He talks like that to people he thinks won't push back." "You're doing that thing again." "What thing?" "Making everything about respect." He stood, and for the first time, his face had none of the softness I used to mistake for kindness. "You want honesty?" My stomach went cold, because nothing good ever comes after someone says that. Honesty should be offered like a hand. Cole held it like a weapon. "My friends think you're a joke," he said. "And honestly, they're not wrong." For a second, the room lost sound. I saw his mouth move after that, but the words arrived late, like they had to travel through water. A joke. I was the woman paying most of the rent, the woman cooking dinner, the woman who had paid off his debt, funded his ideas, bought his shoes, encouraged his potential, and still somehow ended up as the punchline. "A joke?" I asked. "Yes, Bobby, a joke." He threw a shirt into the suitcase. "You're safe, predictable. You're the woman who finishes the spreadsheet. You are not the woman who changes the game. Jason is meeting people who own companies, who take risks, who actually live. And you act like your little analyst salary makes you some genius." "My little analyst salary pays for this apartment." "That's exactly what I mean," he snapped. "You always reduce everything to money. I need to be around winners for a few days. I need to breathe." The cruelty was not loud anymore. It was clean, polished, borrowed from men who had convinced him that being supported by a woman made him weak unless he could make her feel smaller first. I waited for the heartbreak to hit, but something else came instead. Clarity. Cold, bright, almost peaceful. He was not breaking up with me. He was doing something worse. He was insulting me, confirming he did not respect me, then leaving for a long weekend and expecting me to still be there when he came home. Like furniture, like the couch, like the espresso machine, like all the things he enjoyed because I paid for them. He zipped his suitcase, grabbed his jacket, and walked toward the door. At the threshold, he gave me an air kiss near my cheek. "I'll see you Sunday," he said. "Don't wait up." The door clicked shut. I stood in the bedroom for 10 minutes, listening to the hum of the refrigerator and the city outside. Then I walked to my desk, opened my laptop, and pulled up our lease agreement. After that, my banking app. 2 years of transfers stared back at me: rent, dinners, debt payments, Vegas fund, Etsy-style business supplies from whatever phase he was in that month. I had not been his partner. I had been his primary investor, and he had just declared emotional bankruptcy. I picked up my phone. For 1 second, my thumb hovered over Cole's name. I did not call him. I called Samantha. "You free this weekend?" I asked. "And does your brother still have that moving truck?" There was a pause. "Bobby, what happened?" "Cole left for Vegas," I said. "He told me I'm a joke, so I'm moving out while he's gone." Samantha went silent. Then she said, "I'll be there in an hour. Don't touch anything heavy without me." That was when I smiled for the first time all night. Samantha arrived exactly 48 minutes later with her brother's moving truck, 2 rolls of packing tape, and the expression of a woman who had already decided Cole was lucky she believed in legal consequences. She brought 2 friends from her gym, Maya and Tessa, both strong enough to lift furniture and kind enough not to ask me whether I was sure. That mattered. I did not need doubt in the room. I had lived with enough of it. We started Friday morning. While Cole was probably somewhere over Nevada, rehearsing his new personality for men who thought leased cars were life goals, we moved like a quiet operation. I took only what belonged to me: my clothes, my books, my desk, my entire PC setup. The bed I bought after Cole said his back hurt on the old mattress. The sofa paid for with my bonus. The 65-inch TV he used every night while calling my job uninspiring. The pots, pans, good knives, espresso machine, air fryer, smart bulbs, even the bathroom scale. Every receipt was mine. Every payment trail was clean. By 4 in the afternoon, apartment 12B had lost its soul. The rooms echoed in that hollow way empty places do, as if the walls were embarrassed by what they had witnessed. All that remained was Cole's chaos: his clothes, grooming products, half-finished pitch decks, unopened self-help books, the cheap guitar he swore he would learn, and the ridiculous gold-framed floor mirror Jason had convinced him was masculine luxury. I left it there. It felt right that Cole would come home with only a mirror to explain himself to. At 4:30, I called the landlord. "Mr. Pell," I said, "I'm giving notice for apartment 12B. I've moved out." He sounded startled. "Bobby, the lease has 6 months left." "I understand. I'm forfeiting the security deposit and sending my half of the lease break penalty now. Cole remains the other tenant and will be responsible for his portion and the full rent moving forward, unless he makes separate arrangements with you." I sent the payment before he could argue. Then I followed up with a formal signed email. It was expensive, but freedom has a price, and for once I was paying it for myself instead of Cole. Before I left, I walked to the kitchen. The refrigerator hummed softly, bare except for one magnet from a trip to Austin I had paid for. I pulled a sticky note from the drawer, wrote 6 words, and pressed it to the freezer door. "Hope they think this is funny too." Then I locked the apartment and drove to my new place, a smaller 1-bedroom across town, with clean windows and no history. I blocked Cole, Jason, every member of that boys' trip circus, and Cole's mother because I knew she would be deployed eventually. Then I ordered pizza, sat on my own sofa, and slept 10 hours without waking. I did not hear the explosion. Samantha did. By Sunday night, Cole came home tanned, hungover, and probably broke from whatever winter energy bottle service Jason had promised would attract investors. He walked into the dark apartment and called 911. Two tired officers arrived, looked at the empty rooms, saw Cole's belongings untouched, and read my note on the fridge. "Sir," one officer apparently said, "this looks like a breakup, not a burglary." Monday morning, Mr. Pell delivered the second hit. Cole was now responsible for the full rent unless he broke the lease properly, plus his half of the penalty. The Vegas trip had been a disaster too. Jason's high-value connections turned out to be club promoters who got the men free entry, then left them with a $2,000 bar tab. Cole came home expecting his safe girlfriend, his clean bed, his espresso machine, and his financial cushion. Instead, he had a mirror, bad credit risk, and a sticky note. When he could not reach me, he called Samantha. She let the voicemails pile up, then played them for me over beer 2 days later. The first was panic. "Sam, where is Bobby? Someone stole everything. They took the bed, they took the coffee maker. What am I supposed to do?" The second was rage. "Tell her I'm calling a lawyer. She abandoned me. She owes me. This is sociopathic." The third came at 3:15 in the morning, slurred with tears. "Please, I can't pay the rent. Jason isn't answering. None of them are. I didn't mean it. I was just stressed. Please tell her to call me." Samantha looked at me gently. "Are you going to?" I took her phone, found his number, and blocked it there too. "No," I said. "I'm not the punchline anymore." The first 3 months after I left Cole were not dramatic. They were quiet, and that quiet felt better than any revenge fantasy I could have written. I leaned into the exact life he had mocked. I took on a complex AI modeling project at work that everyone else avoided because it was messy, high risk, and full of data no one trusted. I cleaned it, rebuilt it, presented it, and crushed it so completely that my director called me into his office and offered me a promotion to the data science and AI strategy team with a 20% raise. Apparently, the woman who finished spreadsheets knew how to change the game after all. I moved into a nicer one-bedroom in a building with a gym, a reading lounge, and neighbors who did not know Cole existed. I slept. I cooked for myself. I read books without someone asking why I was being boring. I bought clothes because I liked them, not because I had to budget around Cole's next reinvention. For the first time in 2 years, my home did not feel like a repair shop for someone else's ego. Through Samantha, I heard Cole could not afford the apartment and was eventually forced out. He moved back in with his mother, Karen, in the suburbs, an hour from the city. Jason and the winner friends disappeared the moment Cole no longer had access to my money, my apartment, or my stability. Without a provider to mock, Cole was just a broke 27-year-old in his childhood bedroom, refreshing messages from men who had already forgotten him. Then the secondary attacks began. Karen called from an unknown number one afternoon, her voice coated in fake sweetness. "Bobby, honey, Cole is not himself. He's been crying for weeks. Those boys were a bad influence. You know he didn't mean what he said." I waited. "He loves you," she continued. "He needs you. This has been so embarrassing for him." There it was. Embarrassing. Not devastating. Not cruel. Not a betrayal. Just embarrassing. "Karen," I said, "what Cole did was for Cole. What I did was for me. Please do not call again." I hung up and blocked her. A week later, Jason messaged me on LinkedIn, of all places. He said I had destroyed Cole, that I had made my point, that as the bigger person, I should help him get back on his feet. I stared at the message for maybe 10 seconds, then typed one word. No. Then I blocked him too. A full year passed. My life became almost unrecognizable. I was healthier, calmer, better paid, and surrounded by people who did not treat respect like a luxury item. I also met someone. His name was Adrian Bell, an architect with sharp eyes, dry humor, and the rare ability to make ambition feel peaceful instead of performative. He had his own career, his own money, his own friends, and no need for me to sponsor his potential. We were together at the City Tech Gala when I saw Cole again. My AI project had won a small industry award, and my company had a table near the front. I wore a black dress that made me feel powerful. Adrian stood beside me in a tailored suit, laughing as he told me about a client who wanted a house that was somehow modern farmhouse in cyberpunk monastery. I went to the bar for champagne, and there Cole was. He was not a guest. He was working as a brand ambassador, carrying a tray of energy drink samples in a cheap red blazer that did not fit. His face looked thinner, older, covered in a desperate smile that dropped the second he saw me. "Bobby," he said, pushing through the crowd. "Wow, you look incredible." "Cole," I said politely. "Excuse me." "Wait, please." His words came fast. "I was stupid. Those guys were fake. Jason ghosted me. Everything fell apart. I've changed. I'm in therapy. I lost everything, Bobby. I lost you." "You lost the apartment," I said. "You lost the money. You lost the woman who made your life easy." His eyes filled. "So I'm just a joke to you now?" For the first time, I almost smiled. "No, Cole, you're not a joke to me." Hope flickered across his face. "You're not anything to me," I said. "You're just the man who used to live in my old apartment." Adrian appeared beside me, warm hand at my back. "Everything okay?" I turned to him and smiled for real. "Everything is perfect." Cole stared at Adrian like the truth had finally walked into the room wearing a better suit. "Excuse us," I said. "Enjoy the rest of your shift." As Adrian and I stepped onto the terrace, the cool night air touched my face, and I realized I could barely remember the exact insult that had once broken me open. It did not matter anymore. It was not my life. The joke had ended, and I was no longer in it.